back to Soft Spoken Story Time. I'm Cozy Kitten ASMR, and this is SCP-070 Iron Wings. Item number SCP-070. Object Class Safe. Special Containment Procedures. SCP-070 is to be kept within a 10 meter by 10 meter reinforced concrete room that is to be guarded and remotely monitored at all times. This room must always be well stocked with non-perishable food and water. See document 070-IC for a complete inventory of these items, as well as basic amenities for humanoid SCPs. Security personnel assigned to SCP-070 are to carry sticky foam guns in addition to standard armaments. Structural integrity of SCP-070's containment room is to be checked twice daily. In case of excess structural damage, SCP-070 is to be incapacitated and relocated to a nearby backup containment room as described above. If a reinforced concrete room of sufficient strength is not available, SCP-070 may be temporarily contained in a cell of stronger material until another concrete room can be prepared. SCP-070 is to be given sedatives and painkillers on request, but no more than maximum dosages determined by Dr. Dumont. Personnel who enter SCP-070's containment room for any reason must be unarmed and should wear puncture-resistant body armor. Armed guards must remain outside and out of sight of SCP-070. In case of containment breach due to somnambulism, security personnel are to alert site administration, place food and water in the apparent path of SCP-070, and maintain a clear zone of 25 meters around SCP-070. In any other case of containment breach, or if SCP-070 becomes violent during somnambulism, personnel are authorized to incapacitate SCP-070 using sticky foam. Care must be taken to avoid smothering SCP-070. Because SCP-070 reflexively responds violently to injury or attack, security personnel should refrain from using lethal force or otherwise injuring SCP-070 if at all possible. Description: SCP-070 appears to be a human male of Native American descent, with a normal appearance save for a pair of rusty metal wings emerging from his back. Each wing is composed of several flat iron bars, about 6 centimeters wide, connected end to end by rotating rivets to form an articulated length of metal over 2 meters long. Hanging from these bars are chains of various lengths, 22 on each wing, each tipped with a barbed arrowhead. SCP-070 appears to have no other anomalous properties besides these wings. The wings of SCP-070 appear to act independently of the person they are attached to, and SCP-070 has stated repeatedly that it has no control over them. However, when damage has been done to the wings, SCP-070 has shown signs of physiological distress, including sweating, reduced blood flow to the face, and screaming in pain. The wings have been observed to fold and expand, shoot out, and whip its chains at a high speed, both individually and collectively, and anchor its arrowheads into concrete, wood, and like materials. While SCP-070 has not displayed any overt hostility to personnel, it will often react violently to perceived threats by lashing its chains out at assailants and wrapping its chains around its body in a defensive posture. The most effective means of subdual has proven to be sticky foam, non-lethal weaponry, which can reliably ensnare SCP-070's chains from a safe distance. Despite their rusted appearance, the wings and chains of SCP-070 are as strong as high-quality alloy steel. However, they are also as dense as steel, and SCP-070 cannot move about as a normal human due to the weight of its wings. As yet, SCP-070 has been unable or unwilling to use its wings to facilitate human locomotion. SCP-070 spends much of its time anchored to the walls and ceiling of its containment cell, usually sedated. Addendum 070-1 Incident 070-1 On redacted at 3:36, SCP-070 breached containment. Security personnel were advised that SCP-070 appeared to be asleep and were ordered to not engage SCP-070 and to keep others away. by lashing and anchoring chains into the walls and ceiling in front of it. SCP-070 was able to carry itself, still apparently asleep, through sight redacted. SCP-070 broke into the food stores of Canteen 4 and proceeded to gorge itself on the available food and water. Almost 19 minutes later, apparently sated, SCP-070 returned to its containment room. At no time did SCP-070 appear to wake up. SCP-070 claimed no knowledge of the event afterward. Addendum 070-2 Personal background. Interviews have revealed that SCP-070 is named redacted and capable of reciting the correct Social Security number for a U.S. citizen of the same name and age. SCP-070 claims to be a member of the Kiowa tribe and data expunged. SCP-070 claims to not know how the wings came to be, only remembering waking up in a scrapyard with them after taking a lot of peyote the night before. SCP-071 Degenerative Metamorphic Entity. Item number SCP-071. Object Class Euclid. Special Containment Procedures. SCP-071 is contained in a modified standard humanoid containment cell with no direct observation capabilities. Surveillance of SCP-071 may only be performed via closed-circuit video, with a minimum of 60 seconds of delay. Experimentation with SCP-071 may only be performed with permission from at least 2 Level 4 site directors, and personnel entering SCP-071's containment area may only do so in groups of at least 4. Any personnel exhibiting unusual or compulsive behavior must be removed from the area immediately, given a full psychiatric screening, and either administered a Class C amnestic or reassigned as deemed appropriate. Under no circumstances should personnel be permitted to observe SCP-071 directly or through non-delayed surveillance footage. All visual recordings and photographs of SCP-071 must be destroyed immediately once they are no longer needed. Description: SCP-071 is a metamorphic entity that possesses the ability to assume forms consistent with that of its observer's strongest sexual desire. This ability is effective even through barriers designed to prevent SCP-071's recognition of any observers, such as through closed-circuit surveillance or one-way mirrors, but can be prevented by introducing a delay in surveillance footage so that such observation does not occur in real time. SCP-071 appears to be unable or unwilling to change form without external stimuli, instead remaining in its last form when left unobserved. There appears to be little or no limit to the forms SCP-071 is capable of assuming. See Addendum 071-01 for additional information. SCP-071 also appears to be intelligent. However, as it has not shown any ability to verbally communicate, and its behavior is limited to actions which entice its observers to sexual activity, it is unknown whether SCP-071 actually possesses sentience or merely mimics behavior expected by its observers. Human subjects allowed to engage in sexual activity with SCP-071 suffered rapid atrophy of muscles, skeletal structure, and brain function, with onset occurring 1 to 2 days after contact. The atrophy persists for up to 7 days, dependent on physical therapy administered after onset, though the subject may also suffer permanent decrease in stature, decreased organ function, decreased brain mass, and sterility. Subjects who achieve autogratification via the use of media containing SCP-071, whether delayed or not, suffer the same effects. SCP-071 came to the Foundation's attention on redacted, following data expunged. Due to ongoing medical cases consistent with exposure to SCP-071, efforts to remove all visual recordings of SCP-071 from the Internet are ongoing. Addendum 071-01 Researcher Note: SCP-071's ability to change forms does not appear to be limited to normal human subjects. On redacted, when presented with subject D7883, SCP-071 assumed the shape of a female golden retriever. D7883 reacted with shock and refused to proceed with the experiment, though the subject's physiology signs were consistent with a state of sexual arousal. On redacted, SCP-071 assumed the form of a female human corpse when exposed to D8762. Medical staff confirmed a complete lack of life signs, and SCP-071 suffered no harm from the transition later assuming the form of a redacted year-old male subject when exposed to D8765. Dr. Redacted. SCP-072. The foot of the bed. Item number SCP-072. Object Class Safe. Special Containment Procedures. All known instances of SCP-072 are to be contained in a 3.5 by 4 meter holding cell. Access is allowed only during authorized testing procedures. Without prior approval from Senior Researcher Grant, no materials created for the purpose of being slept on are to be introduced into a 15-meter vicinity of the holding cell. Description: Instances of SCP-072 were first discovered in an apartment building in Redacted, Michigan. After 2 local media reports on SCP-072's effects caused a local panic, which drew the attention of Embedded Foundation Agent Redacted. SCP-072 is a shadowy and translucent projection which resembles a 0.9 meter long hand, the fingers of which taper to a sharp point. Detailed recording of SCP-072 is difficult, as it does not manifest at lights levels above 5 lux. Instances of SCP-072 have only been observed to manifest when a human, hereafter referred to as the subject, enters REM sleep while located in a bed infected by SCP-072 and leaves a foot or feet exposed to open air. If these conditions are satisfied, SCP-072 will emerge from the foot of the bed and appear to use its pointer finger to tap on the subject's foot until they awaken. Subjects have reported that at this point they were unable to move, showing symptoms similar to sleep paralysis. This continues as long as SCP-072 is visible. SCP-072 will then use its pointed fingers to cut portions of flesh from the exposed parts of the subject's foot or feet. It will return to within the bed in between each removal, emerging without the collected material. This will continue until SCP-072 has taken all of the exposed foot or feet, stopping at the ankle. Those subjects exposed to SCP-072 report this process to be immensely painful. Its paralytic effects render them unable to scream or call for help. It is unknown if manifestations of SCP-072 feed on the collected material or use them for some other purpose. As long as the wounds are properly treated, SCP-072's effects are not fatal, but have been observed to cause psychological damage relating to sleep in the future. There is also a secondary effect. Any bed within an approximately 10-meter vicinity of a bed which manifests the effects of SCP-072 will also host an instance of SCP-072. Destruction of a bed affected by SCP-072 reveals no anomalous materials and no trace of biological material removed from subjects. Addendum. List of known SCP-072 objects. SCP-072-1, -2, and -3 recovered from original apartment complex 3 twin-sized beds which were located within 10 meters of one another. SCP-072-4, a king-sized 4-poster bed contaminated during SCP-072's time in Site Redacted Temporary Anomalous Objects Holding. SCP-072-5, a sleeping bag with bottom removed, introduced to SCP-072-1 for testing. When D-2191 entered REM sleep in object. Data expunged. SCP-072-5 not recommended for testing in future. SCP-072-6 and -7, beds introduced to SCP-072-2 and later destroyed for examination. Remains of SCP-072-6 and -7 appeared unaffected, but are to be contained until further studies may be completed. SCP-073 Cain. Item number SCP-073. Object Class Euclid. Special Containment Procedures. SCP-073 is to be kept in a 2-room cell furnished with non-organic furniture and items and a bathroom. Subject is allowed to freely wander the facility and eat in the main canteen. A tracking device has been attached to SCP-073's person and is not to be removed. Subject is disallowed any contact with the surface and is not allowed outside the facility. Subject is allowed no contact with plant-based SCPs under any circumstances. Violence is not to be used against SCP-073 under any circumstances. SCP-073 is currently kept in Site-17. Description: SCP-073 appears to be a heavily tanned male of Arabic or Middle Eastern descent in his early 30s. 185 centimeters tall, 6'1", and 75 kilograms, 165 pounds, with black hair and blue eyes. Arms, legs, spinal cord, and shoulder blades of the subject appear to have been replaced with artificial versions of unknown make and metal. Subject only takes notice of this when it is pointed out, and states that it has no knowledge of how, why, or when these replacements took place, stating it had had them as long as it could remember. There is a symbol engraved into the forehead of the subject, which appears to be of Sumerian origin. Symbol has of yet been untranslated, and subject appears distressed when the symbol is mentioned at all, refusing to speak on it. Subject does need to eat and drink on a regular basis, but is strictly carnivorous owing to its effect on plant-based items. SCP-073, who refers to itself as Cain, is generally polite and genial to all who speak to it, though it has been described as being cold and somewhat mechanical in its speech. It is very helpful and enjoys aiding personnel in their daily actions, whatever they may be. It has highly detailed knowledge of ancient to recent events in history and most commonly spoken languages in the world, including ones that have since died out. Subject has professed to having a photographic memory, remembering word for word all text in an 800-page dictionary that was flicked through in a minute and a half. It has scored above average in all intelligence tests given to it. SCP-073's presence is inimical to any and all life grown in soil, causing death to any such life within a 20-meter radius. Any land SCP-073 has walked on, and any within the 20-meter radius, becomes barren as all anaerobic bacteria dies, rendering the soil incapable of supporting life until new bacteria are introduced. Anything that is derived from soil-grown life, such as wood and paper, immediately rots and disintegrates upon touch of SCP-073. Further affected derivatives include anything hydroponically grown. Violence directed toward SCP-073 reflects any damage inflicted on SCP-073 directly back onto the attacker. Although SCP-073 remains visibly unharmed. This applies to any damage directed at SCP-073. Attempts to get tissue and blood samples have proven futile. When the procedure was initiated, personnel carrying out the action felt the sensation of whatever was applied to SCP-073 and wound up with a sample of their own blood or tissue, despite the fact that all actions were directed solely at SCP-073. Indirect damage through a medium also results in the person perpetrating the action receiving the wounds caused. Although SCP-073 receives no actual harm from damage to its person, it has stated that it still feels the pain of the action and has politely asked researchers to abstain from overly harmful actions to its person. Additional notes. SCP-073 was found in the New York Police Department in 19redacted, having been taken in after subject had been found amidst the bodies of several violent gang members. SCP-073 told police members that the gang had attempted to make sport of it, but became angry and attempted to kill SCP-073, resulting in their own demise. SCP-073 was incarcerated and was deemed a John Doe when NYPD could not find any information on it. SCP-073 came to the attention of the Foundation through a routine inspection of John Does and was subsequently released into our custody. Addendum 073-1. Examination of the unidentified metal on SCP-073 has suggested that it is beryllium bronze, a metal that has been documented as being utilized by various anomalous cultures and entities. Most notably, beryllium bronze is a component found in SCP-1 1216, SCP-1427, SCP-2481, and SCP-2711. In light of this discovery, the Foundation began working in an attempt to trace the origin of beryllium bronze and how it initially spread throughout the world. When prompted, SCP-073 was able to provide information that suggests that beryllium bronze originated in the Middle East, though the exact point of origin has yet to be determined. Further research into the origin of beryllium bronze is currently ongoing. Addendum 073-2. In light of SCP-073's indestructible nature, photographic memory, and general will to please, High Command have deemed that all information is to be backed up on SCP-073, ensuring it is not lost in the event of a catastrophe. While this action has met with mixed responses, SCP-073 has agreed and sworn itself to secrecy on its part. Addendum 073. When information concerning SCP-076 was brought to the attention of SCP-073 for backing up, subject showed familiarity with the information, although was disinclined to adding to it, despite the fact that it stated that it already knew all about SCP-076. It then stated it would be better for all parties involved that it not meet SCP-076. Good night. Good night.